Gemini. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for March of 2022. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
I'm Julia Mijas in Pioneer, California.
Well, Gemini, this month's horoscope has themes of growth and also strong career themes that will carry into next month. If this horoscope leaves you with questions about how to grow your career, a Mission Orders career reading can answer them. You'll find a link for that in the YouTube description below. Well, I want to begin with a couple of asteroid goddesses that I really love. One of them is Ceres, shown right here in Gemini, right here in your first house. And the other one is Juno, shown up here in Aquarius in your ninth house. So Ceres is a goddess of the physical world. She is all about the things that connect us to it and ground us, like our physical bodies, like the food that we eat and the money that we make, also values and possessions. And she's a ruler of Taurus, in fact. And so wherever Ceres goes, it's really good to sort of bring a gardening sensibility to that area, which means doing some cultivating and some culling too. When Ceres enters your first house, you can embody this archetype. You can become like the grounded person, the solid person, and that can help you, I think, with your normal Gemini flightiness. But on the other hand, it's really great to take that gardening approach to your very self. Possibly in terms of your appearance. This is very much a house of your appearance, but also it's a house where you walk your talk, where your actions show who you are. And so as you go through this transit, which is going to last until the middle of May, pay attention to the actions that you take and how you're coming off and how you appear. And so cull, trim away, prune the aspects of these things that aren't working for you anymore, that aren't a real representation of who you are, and instead cultivate and grow and build on the aspects of these things that are a real representation of you. The other piece I want to speak to is Juno. And Juno being in your ninth house, Juno is the matriarch of the zodiac. She was the queen of heaven, married to Zeus, Jupiter, and she's all about committed long-term relationship, whether for business or personal reasons. So wherever Juno goes, it's really good to cultivate your social life in that arena or explore that arena with your partner. So this is the ninth house, which is a house of meaning. It is a house of growth and expansion. It is the house where we ask the big picture questions in life, like, what is it all for? And so, and it's also a house of travel and all things foreign and exotic. So when Juno is in this house, it's a great time to go on a long distance trip with your partner or expand your business into maybe a foreign market or a new market that's kind of exotic to you. This is also a house of advertising. So you might have some conversations with your partner, your business partner, about beefing up the marketing situation around your business. And just basically, when it comes to your marriage, have a lot more fun, have adventures, go exploring. Julia, I know you have news about Venus, Mars, and Mercury for the Geminis of the world. What's that stuff?
So much news for Gemini. Hey there, Gemini. We're going to start with Venus and Mars together because these guys are moving together in the sky right now. They have been kind of all year in this new year and will continue throughout March. Now, for the first few days of the month, up until March 5th, they're going to be in your 8th house of other people's money. And Jamie and I really covered that in last month's video. So I encourage you to check that out for a refresher, where we really went into that into a lot of depth, what Venus and Mars in the 8th is like. But after March 5th, Venus and Mars are going to be moving together into your 9th house. And the 9th house is a house of travel. It's a house of learning. It's a house of adventure. Basically, all the things that can expand you in life, that broaden your horizons. It also has associations with law too. So Venus and Mars, totally different planets from one another. Venus, we'll start with her first. She's the planet of beauty. She's the planet of aesthetics. She likes to attract things to her when she wants something. And Mars is a planet that's very driven. It represents the action hero in you. And wherever we have it is where we can be very driven that month. However, it can also be where we might run into some conflict too. So with both of these planets in the ninth, let's say Venus is in the ninth. We'll start with that piece. Venus in the ninth is a really wonderful transit for going on a pleasure trip. You know, if you have any trips planned this month, or if you're sort of thinking about your next plan, Venus in the ninth house is just a wonderful transit. Also, if you're in school and you're learning new things, or you're doing any other continuing education in your life too, because wherever Venus is, we tend to find pleasure. And if you're in a relationship, then you might want to do some expansive activity with your partner, whether learn something philosophical, go on a trip together, those types of things. Now, Mars in the ninth really is just itching for adventure, itching for travel, itching to go out and learn new things. And those are all wonderful activities to pursue and to be driven on. However, if you are in a place in life where maybe you can't quite go on a trip right now, or you can't go out and have some new adventure, it can make you feel very stir crazy. Like you just kind of want to get out there and see the world, but maybe there's some limitations that can sometimes create a little bit of restlessness. And, you know, if you're currently in school, or, you know, Mars in the ninth might mean that maybe you're not seeing eye to eye with your teacher so much. And if you're in some kind of legal dispute, you know, Mars in the ninth might mean that you might want to settle, or, you know, come to some kind of negotiation, because Venus is in the ninth as well too. So I would rather go with her onto a lawsuit. Yeah, Venus also is moving direct and fast too this month, which is really great news, because we've had a retrograde for 6 weeks this winter. And when she's retrograde, it tends to be a time of review in our relationship. So having her moving direct and fast means that, you know, any issues you've had in your relationships over the last few months is going to be slowly smoothing out. And then finally,
hey, Julia, do you think that if the Geminis of the world are single and traveling during this transit, that they might be more likely to meet somebody that they're attracted to and maybe jump into bed really fast?
Oh, yes, and in that order, and yes, definitely in that order. First comes Venus, then comes Mars.
Yeah.
Jamie just got that symbolism perfectly. Wonderful time for single Gemini to maybe have a one and done summer romance, or a holiday romance. We're not quite in the summer yet, but yeah, I like that. That's definitely would be a great use of the transit. Mercury also moving direct and fast too. He finished up a whole retrograde cycle recently. So when Mercury is moving fast and direct, it means that communications are working well, versus when he is retrograde, also technology. And by March 9th, Mercury is going to enter your 10th house. This is the house of career. It represents your boss or anybody who's an authority figure in your life. And it's a very public house. It can have a lot to do with your reputation, how you're known to others. And Mercury is the planet of communication. It's also the planet that shows us where we expend a lot of our mental energy that month, you know, where our mind is really preoccupied that month. So Mercury in the 10th means that you're really thinking about your career. You know, maybe you're strategizing about your next career. If you're currently unemployed, this would be a wonderful transit for working on your resume, because that's perfect for the 10th. And if you're in a career and you do anything Mercury related, like teaching, writing, speaking, buying, selling, being an agent, all those types of things, it can be a very fruitful period. You might also, with Mercury in the 10th, have increased communications with the authority figures in your life, whether that's a boss, whether that's a teacher, or your parents too. And since the 10th is also your reputation and also public image, this would be a wonderful transit for any type of public speaking. You know, whether you have to get up in front of a class and you know, present something, or whether you have a social media account that has a following and you like to kind of, or a vlog or something like that. It's a wonderful time for sort of broadcasting your voice.
Indeed. Well, I want to speak to the new and full moons and the seasonal change. The new moon happens March 2nd, and it's a new moon in Pisces, which is your 10th house. The new moon in Pisces has such a feeling of compassion and gentleness and empathy. It's a very dreamy moon. It's a very imaginative moon. And Jupiter is here just kind of making things bigger and just radiating generosity. This is all happening in your 10th house. And if this means that Jupiter is also passing along through your 10th house, well, that's really great news. That means that things are growing in your career, which is lovely. And then this new moon may enable you to plant some seeds that will help that growth go along further. And the seeds planted at the new moon have a tendency to come to fruition at the full moon about 2 weeks later. So I'll speak to that in a minute. This new moon we're calling rationally dreaming for the collective. The dreaming part obviously has to do with Pisces, but the rational part has to do with the sextile to Uranus that also speaks of the collective. It's lovely to have a sextile and that this moon is just all harmony all the time. So there's a lot of sweetness there and a lot of good feeling happening in your career realm that can help you to grow even more. And then about 2 weeks later, we have the full moon, which is in Virgo, and it's happening around the 17th or 18th, depending on your time zone. The sun remains in the 10th house with a large grouping, so that the emphasis this month is really in the 9th house of meaning and the 10th house of career, so that the themes of growth and expansion, along with building and constructing, are very, very strong. But then this full moon in Virgo here appears in your 4th house, which is a much more like internal realm of life. It's the realm of family and home, your domestic sphere, and your inner worlds. This moon, this full moon, we're calling realize your empathy through humble practice. And this is where the seeds planted in the compassionate, empathic realm of Pisces, especially if you did kind things for people at your work, they can bear fruit actually in your home life, feeling more secure and stable, and also perhaps doing some actual physical good works for people in your home. This is a really great transit for house projects, for fixing and like, you know, tweaking and stuff around your home. Really great transit for that. And this second moon of the month also, all harmony all the time. Really good stuff. Now we have a seasonal shift to talk about here too. The sun has been traveling along through Pisces, which, as I said last month, is in last month's horoscope, it's a very muddy sign. It does sort of bespeak the otherworldly, the metaphysical, the realm of dreams and imagination, and the endings of things. And then it's followed by the spring equinox, which is like, it's kind of like the New Year's in terms of the seasons, because this is when the energy is rising and the newborn bursts forth from the womb of Pisces, squalling and kicking, loaded with energy and vivacity for life itself. And so where this energy bursts forth for you is in the 11th house of community, tribe, friendships, people of like mind. I also like to think of this house as the laboratory because it's a really great place for experiments, particularly thought experiments. So try embracing some new wacky ideas during the season of Aries, and get out there with your friends and have adventures, move your body, start an exercise plan, and do it with a buddy or do it in a group. So maybe it's time for that, cycling group that you've always wanted to be a part of. And that's what we have for you today. Hope you enjoyed it. You can always find this horoscope and your other horoscope, like if this is your sun sign, find your rising sign horoscope on our website, pandoraastrology.com, in the horoscopes tab. And you can find the news of the month, including more about those moons, on our forecast page. And you can get readings with us in the types of readings tab. And we also offer classes as well. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye-bye.
Bye.